G'day guys, we're in the shed doing a bit of work on the Forerunner. Just a couple of things that make life easier. A couple of things that everybody wants to do is Incab winch controls. Really simple to do, but people sort of get a bit daunted by it, so we thought we'd get Jeff on the camera, show you how easy it is. So first thing you want to do, pull your winch control box apart,
as we've done.
Follow your wires back from the connection to your wired remote, or if you've got a wireless remote, doesn't matter. Connect it all up, ready to go. You'll have 4 wires, so a power going in, an earth, and an in and an out. So basically it gives power to the solenoid when you press the button in or press the button out. So all you want to do is connect your little test light,
as we've already done.
have a friend or do it all yourself. So hit the out button, put your test light on one of the terminals. There you go, that lit up, so that's obviously the out. Do the other one, hit the in button, it lights up, so that's in. So all we're going to do now is grab some ring terminals, connect them up onto these 2 wires, run them back down with those wires, run them into the cab to a momentary on 2-way switch, and that'll be in-cab winch controls done. How easy is that, Jeff?
Pretty easy.
Righto, now we've identified the in and the out wires. We just run a twin core wire, put a ring terminal onto those, just took the screw out on each side and tapped them in. So that's not going to affect anything with the winch operation, it just runs off that same circuit. Now we're going to run this twin core wire into the cab and to the switch. Job done.
It's easy.
Too easy.
Only takes a couple of beers.
Yeah, probably about 6. Righto guys, we're inside the cab. We've run the wire, our dual core wire, from the winch control box, the solenoid that we showed you before, in through the firewall. Next thing to do is pick a position for your switch. I'm going to put mine in the center console. So there's a lot of different styles of these switches. This is the one I'm going to be using. So it's a simple switch. It has a power in and then 2 power outs. So obviously the reason for that, power comes into the switch. It's a momentary on switch, so it only works when you hold it in. When you let it off, it loses power to whatever it's sending it to. So obviously that's what you want for a winch control. It's exactly the same as your wireless control, exactly the same as your corded remote. Whenever you've got the button on, it will be winching. Whenever you let the button off, it will stop. So in the simplest terms of wiring these switches up, all you need to do is run a power to this switch inside the cab. So obviously off the ignition or off the cigarette lighter is the easiest. And then you've got 2 power outs, and that goes to your twin core wire, 1 to winch in, 1 to winch out. So that's as simple as it needs to be. The next step you can sort of do to make it a little bit more professional, or what I'm going to do here is, because my switches are down here on the center console, there's a risk of them getting bumped. You drop your drink on it, you sit your drink on it, you drop your wallet, whatever, and you certainly don't want your winch trying to winch when you don't want it to be. So what I'm going to do, because of the position it's in, I'm also going to put a winch power oscillator switch, which will sit next to it. So what you'll then have to do to use this and make this switch to the winch active, you'll have to first flick the oscillator on, then your winching controls will be active. So that's really simple again. The only difference being, rather than taking your power straight from the accessory, either your cigarette lighter or your ignition, into the in pole of the switch, you'll take your power to this switch, and then from the out of this switch will then go to the power in. So you're essentially just putting a switch in the power line. You need to turn it on to then give power to this switch. Really simple. Actually, while I had the center console out, I've decided to get rid of the back cigarette lighter and put one of these dual USB twin cigarette lighter sockets in the back. I've run it directly off the battery. Obviously don't have to, but the reason I've done that's because the one in the dash will then be through the accessories. If I want to keep charging my phone or my camera equipment or whatever, kids tablets and stuff, while you've got the car locked up, you can plug it into that one and it'll keep it charging when the key's off. Because I've run a 6mm twin wire through to that to give it power, that's nice and easy for me to pick up my power to the switch. So I've soldered it on there. I'm just about to tape it up. So therefore that's my power. So I'm going to have that red wire go to the power in of the oscillator switch. I'm using the black side, so that'll go to the power out of that switch. That wire will then plug into the winch in out switch and give power to the switch. And then I've got my out lines, so the in and the out winching, which will go back to the solenoid or the wire back on through the firewall and back onto the bull bar. So hope that makes sense. I'll get him all wired up now and I'll give you a bit of an update in a sec. Righto, we're all tidied up, job done. So yeah, really simple. Momentary on switch. You want to winch in, you want to winch out. Obviously, yeah, risk of bumping that. You don't want to be using the winch when you don't want to be. So in order for that to have power and work, we've got this isolation switch. So to winch, rather than having to find your control, plug your control in, do all that sort of stuff while someone's running the winch out for you, give the winch power. You can probably hear that. As soon as you flick the isolator switch off, no power. Happy days. So yeah, while we did that, we also put the constant power 12 volt plugs on the back of the console as well, and rather than have wires running everywhere to charge the phone, I've tucked it up in the pillar, so that just plugs in, and there's one of these little magnetic connections to chuck the phone on. Works sweet. Righto guys, thanks for that. If you've got any questions about it, let us know and we'll do our best to answer them. But yeah, just wanted to show you something that's a really common mod that a lot of people in four-wheel drives want to do, something that's really cheap, makes things a lot easier, and it's something you can do yourself. You don't need to pay someone else to do. So hopefully it's inspired you to have a bit of a go at it. Righto guys, thanks, bye.